5-second trick to catch any lie. Did you know that a single move, a tiny facial expression, or even the way you stand can give away what you're really feeling? Picture this. Someone looks at you and says, "I'm fine," but their body is screaming, "I'm lying." This video uncovers the hidden signals of body language, the same secrets psychologists, the FBI, and even mentalists rely on. And once you've seen them, you'll never look at people the same way again. Then let's dive in. All right, let's be honest. We've all been in that situation where someone smiles at us and tells us something, and deep down we just feel, yeah, that can't be true. But how do you know for sure? How do you know it's not just your gut messing with you? Here's the secret. According to the FBI and behavioral experts, there are specific signs that can reveal a lie in just a few seconds. And the best part? You don't have to be an agent to spot them. You can learn how to notice these signals too. It's not magic. It's not a superpower. It's all about conscious observation. I'll show you exactly what the FBI looks for. Body language, micro-expressions, voice tone, and how someone reacts under pressure. Think about it. Have you ever noticed when someone gave way too many details or way too few? Or maybe they smiled at you while their eyes told a completely different story. That's exactly what we're going to break down. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tips you can use in everyday life, at work, in conversations with friends, even on dates. Let's start with the basics. Why do people lie in the first place? Let's be honest. Everyone has lied at some point in their life. You, me, all of us. Sometimes it's small stuff. Oh yeah, dinner was delicious. And sometimes it's about bigger, more serious things. Psychologists say there are 3 main reasons behind most lies. The first is self-protection. We lie when we're afraid of consequences and want to avoid trouble. Think back to childhood. You broke a glass and instantly said, "It wasn't me, the cat did it." Sound familiar? The second reason is gaining an advantage. Someone might lie to seem more impressive, more successful, or more attractive. For example, on a date, when someone brags about their job or claims they're into fitness, even though their running shoes are still brand new in the box. And the third reason is avoiding conflict. This is when we lie just to keep the peace. "Sure, I liked the movie too," you say, while inside you wanted to tear your hair out for 2 hours. So what does this mean? When someone lies to you, there's almost always a motivation behind it. Lies don't just happen randomly. And if you can understand the why, it becomes much easier to spot when the what isn't true. That's exactly why FBI agents pay close attention to context, not just the signals themselves, but the situation the person is in. Because the environment often tells you when someone is more likely to resort to lying. So remember, there's always a reason behind a lie. And if you can recognize that reason, your eyes for spotting deception become much sharper. Now we're getting to one of the most fascinating parts, body language. Because no matter how much someone thinks they can trick you with words, their body often tells a completely different story. That's why the pros say, the body never lies. Just watch closely. When someone's nervous, they often fidget with their hands, play with their hair, or pick at their nails. These little self-soothing actions slip out without them even realizing, but they give away the tension inside. And what happens when someone is lying? Suddenly, they become a lot more conscious of themselves. Maybe they sit unnaturally stiff, barely gesturing at all. Or the opposite, they use exaggerated movements. That's because their body struggles to keep up with the story they're inventing in their head. Here's a simple example. You're talking to someone who says, "Of course I wanted to come to your event. Something just came up." But at the same time, they lean back, fold their arms, and turn their feet away from you. What does that signal? That deep down, they're trying to distance themselves from the situation. So here's the rule. When there's a mismatch between words and body signals, believe the body. Every single time. Think about it. Have you ever had someone smile at you while their posture screamed the opposite? That gut feeling you had? That's exactly what the FBI looks for. They don't just listen to words. They watch for every tiny movement. If the body never lies, the face is even more revealing. That's because the human face shows tiny split-second movements we can't fully control. These are called micro-expressions. So, what does that mean? When someone lies, their brain tries to suppress the real emotion they feel, but the muscles react faster than conscious thought. That's why a genuine emotion can flash across the face for just a fraction of a second, sometimes as quick as 1/25th of a second. Here's a quick example. Imagine your partner is asked, "You didn't forget my birthday, right?" They confidently reply, "Of course not." But at the corner of their mouth, there's a fleeting grimace of guilt. That tiny flash is the truth slipping out. Back in the 1960s, a psychologist named Paul Ekman started studying these expressions. He discovered that micro-expressions are universal. A businessman in Japan and a farmer in Brazil show the same fleeting signs of fear, anger, or contempt. It's hardwired into human biology. The FBI quickly realized this could be a powerful tool during interrogations. The challenge, though, is that these flashes are so quick, most people never notice them. That's why special training programs, and even computer software, were developed for agents to teach their eyes to catch what looks invisible to the untrained observer. Imagine watching the world in slow motion, like a scene from The Matrix. So here's the takeaway. Micro-expressions aren't magic. You don't need superpowers to spot them. With practice and awareness, you can start to catch those little flashes that don't match the words being spoken. The face really does reveal the truth. Now, let's talk about something everyone hears, but few people pay attention to. The voice. When someone lies, their tone, their pace, and even their choice of words often change. And trust me, it's more revealing than you think. So, what should you listen for? First, the pitch. Many people's voices get slightly higher when they lie, because lying creates stress. The tension tightens the throat, and the pitch rises. Think about it. When you're nervous, doesn't your own voice get thinner too? Second, the pace. Some liars speed up, rushing through their story as if they want to get it over with. Others slow down dramatically, carefully choosing every word to avoid slipping up. That contrast alone can be suspicious. Then there are the pauses. Honest stories tend to flow smoothly, but a liar often adds too many pauses while searching for the right words. Or they go the other way, throwing in way too many unnecessary details, hoping the extra proof will make the story believable. Here's a simple example. You ask your roommate, "Did you eat the last slice of pizza?" If they're telling the truth, they'll just say yes or no. But if they're lying, they might launch into a weird explanation. "Well, technically there weren't that many slices left because last night I had one and honestly it was just sitting there for a while." That's over-explaining. classic liar behavior. So, what does this mean? The way someone speaks, their tone, their pace, and their detail can reveal more than the actual words. And the best part? You don't have to be an FBI agent to pick up on it. You just need to pay attention. Be honest, haven't you had that moment where you were listening to someone and their voice instantly told you something was off? That gut feeling has a real basis. And now, you'll know exactly what to listen for. Alright, so far we've looked at body language, facial expressions, and the voice. But what do the professionals actually do when they want to catch a liar? The FBI has developed specific techniques that are surprisingly effective. And the good news is, you can use some of them in everyday life too. One of the most important is called the baseline technique. Here's how it works. Agents start with harmless questions like, "What's your dog's name?" or "How was your morning?" While the person answers, they watch how they behave when they're telling the truth. That becomes the baseline, their normal pattern. Challenge for you. Next time you chat with a friend, ask them something simple. Then notice their natural rhythm, gestures, and voice. That's their baseline. Then comes the twist. Ask a more sensitive question. If posture, voice, or reaction time suddenly shifts, that's a red flag. Another tool is the control question. This is a question where the answer is already known, like, "It's Monday today, right?" If someone reacts oddly, or struggles even with an obvious question, it signals they have trouble giving natural, spontaneous responses. And then there's the time pressure technique. If someone is hit with an unexpected question, "Where exactly were you last night at 8 p.m.?" They don't have time to polish their story. If they hesitate, over-explain, or change details on the spot, that's often more revealing than the actual answer. Back in the 1980s and 90s, the FBI worked with psychologists and behavior analysts to test these ideas. They ran experiments where volunteers told simple stories, then slipped in small lies. What they found was fascinating. The liars showed consistent patterns, changes in eye contact, shifts in tone, little tension movements. Those experiments became the foundation for the interrogation methods the FBI still uses today. Even the CIA and other intelligence agencies later adopted them.
Here's a simple everyday example. Your kid says, "I didn't break the vase." If you immediately follow up with, "Then why is there dust on your pants?" the sudden surprise often exposes the truth. So here's the key. Professionals don't rely on just one single signal. They create situations that provoke reactions. And here's another challenge. In your next conversation, pay attention to how someone reacts when you suddenly change the topic. That shift in energy can tell you more than the words themselves. The difference in reaction can be louder than the answer itself. Now, here's the part everyone's been waiting for. How can you actually catch a lie in just 5 seconds? The truth is, there isn't a single magic trick. But if you pay attention to several signals at once, the result can be shockingly quick. Think of it like a mental checklist you run through in your head. Step 1. Watch the face. Do you see a tiny twitch? A fleeting grimace that doesn't fit the words? Step 2. Listen to the voice. Does the tone shift? Do they rush? Or do they suddenly slow down? Step 3. Look at the body. Do they freeze up or start fidgeting? Is their behavior suddenly different from their usual baseline? If you notice 2 or 3 of these happening at the same time, there's a good chance you're dealing with a lie. And yes, that can happen in just a few seconds. Here's a simple everyday example. You ask your friend, "Did you take my keys?" If they're telling the truth, they'll just say,
"No, it wasn't me." But if they glance away, their voice jumps a little higher, and they nervously scratch the back of their neck, well, they've already given themselves away. And here's another very common clue people often overlook: what doesn't happen afterward. Let's say someone made up an excuse for missing something important to you, your birthday, or even your wedding. They said, "Work didn't let me off," and acted all apologetic. At first, that sounds believable. But what happens the next time you see them? If they were being honest, they'd naturally ask, "So, how was the party? How was the wedding?" If they avoid the subject, change the topic quickly, or act like it never happened, that's a strong sign the excuse was just a cover story. So here's the point. Catching a liar is about stacking the signals, whether in the first 5 seconds or later on. One clue alone doesn't prove much, but when multiple signs line up, body, voice, face, or even the lack of follow-up, that's not coincidence. And that's exactly how the FBI does it too. By now, you've seen it. Yes, you really can catch a lie in as little as 5 seconds. You've learned what to look for in the body, the face, the voice, and even got a taste of the actual FBI playbook. But here's the most important part. This knowledge comes with responsibility. Why? Because you should never label someone a liar based on a single clue. Think about it. Maybe the person is just tired, nervous, or having a bad day. These signals on their own aren't proof. They're indicators. They help build a picture, but they're not the final verdict. Even professional FBI agents don't jump to conclusions based on one grimace or one awkward pause. They only trust their judgment when multiple signs appear, consistently and together. And that's the same mindset you should keep. Here's the upside, though. Once you learn to spot these signals, you'll see your world more clearly. You'll cut through excuses faster. You'll sense honesty versus dishonesty more easily. And you'll navigate relationships, work, and daily interactions with sharper awareness. So use it wisely. Pay attention. Connect the dots. But remember, the real power isn't just in exposing someone, it's in understanding why they behave the way they do. And if you found this video helpful, stick around. There's plenty more where this came from. Practical tips, psychology hacks, and the secrets of human behavior. Learn them, practice them, and you'll be the one nobody can fool.